What is going on, you guys? Happy Thursday. I cannot believe we're almost at Friday. This is so crazy. But if you are on live, say what's up. If you are here on a replay, that's okay too. The way you'll know you're live is there is a little red box on somewhere on the top of your screen, and that's how you know you're live. If you don't see that, chances are you are not with me live, and that's okay. I'm still grateful if you come back to watch on the replay. And if you are new to being live with me, I just want you to drop the word new, say what's up. I want to get to know you because it is social media, okay? So I will take sips occasionally. I'm getting over whatever this was. We're not claiming it. Your girl's on the mend, okay? So you guys know, I really love playing music, right? I talk about, play music that feeds your faith. Play music that gets you in that mood, like you just want to jump, because it will literally change your energy. And some of us are just like, I talked about this yesterday, we're kind of like just going through the motions because our energy sucks. And we got to change that up, right? So I just want to encourage you. Normally, I would play a song. I think tomorrow I'm going to live a little on the wild side. And if Facebook cuts us off, I'm so sorry. But we're going to do one of our normal, lives with our music at the beginning, worship time real quick, and speak some life into you and get that energy right. But for now, I hope that my energy is good for you to be able to take some from it, okay? So for those of you guys who don't know me, I am Frances. I live out in Indianapolis, Indiana with my beautiful family. My kids are 8 and 3. And I'm a mom who has been through some things, okay? I don't come from the easiest beginnings, nor do I come from the most horrible beginnings, right? But I do come from adversity, overcoming, and I want you to know it's not about what happens in your life, but instead what you do with that. The way you choose to change, the way you choose to be transformed is really what's going to count. And so I'm just over time, I've just become just more aware, and awareness is everything if you're willing to do something with it, right? And so I'm just grateful for awareness. I'm grateful for wisdom. I'm grateful for clarity, because now I can move forward with my family, getting better, doing things better, getting 1% better every day, so that our small changes over time can lead to our big results. And the same thing applies to you, right? And I'm just here to show other women, to show other moms that the increase is possible if you're willing to do the work, right? And so let's talk about budgets, okay? I went live about this before, probably months ago, and I just wanted to touch on this again from a little bit of a different perspective and actually just highlight some really important things, because as we go in to a harder financial season, you're going to have to be extremely aware of your spending. You're going to have to be extremely aware of just what you're doing with money. And that goes for a lot of people. And so I feel like we as a world, as people, would do way less reacting if we would just prepare a little bit more, right? I mean, even the word talks about preparing for the season of famine. And so I wanted to talk about this because a lot of the issue around budgets is the mindset. And that's why, I'm working so hard to increase the brand of Mindset Money and More, because a lot of people want to get to money, but they don't want to address their mindset. And there's no way you're going to get fat in the pockets without getting fat in your mind first. And so, that's a good one. Y'all like that? Get fat in the mind so you can get fat in the pockets. Maybe we'll do a call or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, follow with me. But a lot of the problem is, people are like, oh, I'm trying to get to the bag. I need to get to the bag, And we all do. We all have bills. We all, have things that we want to do. We all have, savings that we should be saving. We all have money we should be investing, right? We should. And the thing is, if you don't address the bigger elephant, which is your mindset, you're going to have a really hard time. And I don't know if, if you're anything like me, or if you were raised in hard environments, right? And maybe you weren't, okay? Like maybe that's not your truth, and that's okay. But I wanted to share this because a lot of what happens is that we don't I'm trying to look for the right word, you guys. We don't, what's the word I'm looking for? We don't look at our past a lot of times from the right perspective. We look at it to live there. And instead, we just need to be tapping into it for reflection purposes sometimes. Because I want you to know that the conversation is not about shame, it's not about embarrassment, it's not about guilt, it's not about any of that. But what it is about is you changing your thinking, right? Renewing, transforming your mind so that you don't reproduce all the things you say you don't want, all the situations that you say you don't want, all the habits that you say you're sick of. If you don't start to work on your mindset, it's going to feel dang near impossible for you to feel like you're coming out of that, right? For you to really get to your next level, whatever that might be, whatever increase might look like for you in your life. And so I want to talk about budgeting from such a different perspective. And there's my little, isn't she so cute with her crazy hair? Amara, say hi, everyone. She's hiding. Don't hide from the camera, girl. You cute. Okay, she's hiding because she's stealing books. I mean, at least she's stealing books, and she just stole a John Maxwell book. So I mean, I can't be mad at her too much. Can you put my book back? Thank you. You can go get your book off of your bookshelf. Thank you. These kids. Anybody else a mom on here? Real life, real life? Okay. So I just wanted to shed some light on budgeting in a different way today, because if you were raised in environments where you guys didn't talk about money, and maybe it's because maybe there wasn't a lot to talk about. Maybe they didn't know a lot that they could teach you, or, I feel like for the most part, a lot of our parents or parent, if you were raised in a single parent home, Amara, step away from my books right now. Thank you. Because sis got a habit of coloring circles in my books instead of going to her bookshelf and getting herself a book. So for the most part, our parents or parent, if you were raised in a single parent home like I was, they did the best that they absolutely knew how to do, considering their mindset, considering what battles they were fighting through, considering they still were growing and maybe still are growing, hopefully, right? And so I think once we can isolate the fact that, dang, they did the best they knew how, now we can take even more responsibility for what we're going to create for our children or the people in our lives or the ones that are coming after us, to be able to say, okay, so I came from them doing the best they knew how. So now if I don't like what that looked like, or if it's not working for my life, which for most of us it's not working, we're still taking financial advice from, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, when we were being raised by them, and they only were doing what they knew best, doesn't mean it works. And so if it worked, there would be like fruit that you would want to reproduce. And if you don't, that's not a bad thing. That's an awareness thing to say, you know what? I get the ability to learn new things. I get the ability to try new things in my life with my family and just with the people around me. And I get the ability to start to adopt some new mindsets, new principles, new philosophies around important things like money. And so I know that that's how it's been for our house, because my mom, I love her to death. She's a hustler, if you know anything about my mom. But there are certain things about money that she still doesn't know, that now she's trying to learn. And it's a beautiful thing when you take on the responsibility to learn it so that you can give that back to them or to anyone else in your life that needs it. So the thinking around budgeting is such a problem a lot of times because we were never taught the disciplines around money, the psychology around money, the good philosophy around money. And so what we carry is this mindset of, if I'm creating a budget, it's because I'm restricting myself and I can't afford all the things that I want to do. When that's not really true. If you really think about it, creating a budget is saying, okay, these are the things that we value, that I value, and then here's the percentage that is going to get allocated to these pieces of life. But first, we got to see how much we bring in so we can allocate appropriately, or vice versa. Figure out the percentage and then apply that to what you bring in. So there's different ways you can do that, and we'll go into the logistics of some helpful things that you can use with the budget. But I wanted to change your mindset today because I want you to think about this. And I've used this example before, but do you think that billion-dollar companies are just, swiping cards left and right and just ignoring, oh, just spend the money, and we got the money, just use it? No. I mean, they're obviously using money, but they know what's allocated where. They know quarterly what earnings they had. They know quarterly what the expenses looked like. They know quarterly if they spent too much on marketing. They know quarterly if there was too much miscellaneous spending. They know quarterly, or however often they're breaking down their numbers. They know where the money is going and where it's not going. They know when, they're not having the certain results that they've been looking for in a certain area with sales. Okay, maybe we need to allocate some more to our marketing or to whatever, right? Communications, whatever, however they break up their budget, if you will. And so if we stop operating out of this me personal mindset, and we start to think about ourselves and our last name and our brand, if you will, because you're a brand, your family's a brand, you are a corporation, okay, with a legacy that you should want to leave, right? And legacy is way more than just the amount, okay? It is the mindset that you leave behind, it's the knowledge that you leave behind, it's habits that you leave behind, it is values. It's so much more than just a number of this, right? And so if you start to switch your mindset, like, dang, you know what? I need to start operating me. I need to start operating my family. I need to start operating my last name as a billion-dollar corporation. That means what? That means I should want and have to know where my money's going. That means I should want and have to know how much of the income that's coming in is going to the household nugget, right? That means I should want and have to know how much miscellaneous spending I'm doing at Target. That means I should want and have to know how to budget appropriately so when back to school time comes, I'm not freaking out. And so if we just change our thinking, right? If we just change our thinking around the why, around the how we budget, I think we would be so much better off in this world, for real, for real. And so when we talk about a budget, I want you to know that it's your roadmap. It's your roadmap to your financial success. It's your roadmap to prosperity, if you will, right? Because we're here to prosper. We're not here to just pay bills and die. We're here to legitimately prosper. And prosperity for all of us might mean something different. For one person, prosperity might mean, I just don't want to have to worry about setting up a payment arrangement with the electrical company, right? For someone else, prosperity might mean, I need and have to make sure that my family has 6 months to 9 months of our monthly expenses put away, right? And so prosperity is going to mean something different for everybody, but budgeting is your roadmap. It's literally your blueprint that's going to help you see what you need to see. every day, every week, every month, however often you decide to sit and do this. But you got to get it out of your head that budgets are for people that are broke. That is so far from the truth, because even the person that's doing, let's say, the worst in America is still richer than people in other countries. And so it's just so much far off. Like, it's so far off from the truth, right? And so think about this. If you start to think about the fact that, you know what, budgeting is for billionaires, budgeting is for $1 billion companies, budgeting is really an allocation map, right? It's really a place that I go to allocate where funds are going. It's where I go to give my funds an assignment for every single thing, because if you think about $1 billion companies, they're not just woohoo, throw the money away and we'll figure it out later. No, they know how much went where. And that's why, you know, when they find out people are embezzling and stuff, they know you stole the money, Craig. Like, they know you stole the money, because everything is tracked, especially nowadays where you could track everything. You could track somebody swiping at the gas station, what time they were there, did they use the chip or did they swipe, was it a prepaid card or not, whose card it was. I mean, everything is trackable. And so, you know, I talk about budgets all the time because it's such a sensitive place for me, because I remember who I was when I didn't budget. I remember who I was when it was so hard for me to face my own finances. Like, I was terrified. And it was because I knew that I didn't know where none of my money was going. And I talk about it so much and so often because it's such an important piece of what really made me realize, oh, shoot, girl, you're actually just spending money on things that you don't even find important, but you don't even realize that you're doing that because you don't track it. And what you don't track, you cannot increase intentionally. And that was my thinking when I got more serious about budgeting, and I got more serious about, like, okay, if I know that I value certain things, the money should be smartly spent in those areas, not just miscellaneous, because I could have been using that for something that I actually value, right? And so if you can just put a positive spin on why you're budgeting, and I'm going to give you some benefits here in a second, but I just want to help you change your mindset around it, because it's not for people that are broke. It is not. And broke is actually a mindset, because I know people that make, you know, $55,000 a year, that budget, that do the right thing with their money, that put it where they value, and they feel happy, they feel in harmony, they feel good about their financial situation. So, you know, it's gonna look different for everybody. But if you just change the mindset that, oh, budgets are for broke people, I don't want to be restricted with my money. Well, you also don't want to go haywire and then realize that you're spending money on stuff you don't even value, but you won't realize it because you're not tracking. And what you don't track, you're not going to be able to improve intentionally. So let's talk about some things. Like, I want you to ask yourself, have I ever said any one of these things to myself? I don't know where all my money goes. Have you ever said that to yourself? I've said that way too many times before in the past. Way too many. And I knew that that was a red flag. Okay. Have you ever said, you know, I just got $60 out of the ATM and I don't even know what I spent it on? Have you ever said, I don't know how that check got returned? I get paid and I'm broke before the week is even over, right? So let's say you get paid on a Friday. By next Friday, you're like, I don't even have money left. I don't know. Have you ever said, I can never seem to get ahead? That is one thing that I hear a lot. I used to say it, but that is one thing I hear a lot is, man, I can never seem to get ahead. Man, something's always happening. You ever hear that? Or maybe you're saying that in this season or a previous season in your life. That is an indication that there's some work we could do around budgeting, right? Have you ever said, I hate payday because it feels like I don't even get money to use for me? You ever hear that one? I hear it. I've said it before in the past too. How about, I keep tapping into my rainy day fund, or dang, I don't even have a rainy day fund. What's another one? Yeah, those are really common. And I think I hear the one of, I can never seem to get ahead. That seems to be super common. And that is a lot to do with your mindset. It's a lot to do with management of what you're doing. What are you allocating? What do you value that is in your budget that you're not putting? Because here's the thing: if you create your budget around things that you value, things that are important in your life, in your family's life, as you're properly allocating and you're getting better in your allocation, and allocating just means like bringing together. A simple way to explain that is allocation, right? The bringing together of an application. So if you know that you create a budget around things that you value, things that are important to your family, right? Obviously the essential things like your rent or house payment, your vehicle, if they're things that you value and you're starting to get better about the money that goes in those buckets, your date nights, things to do with the kids, then it becomes more about, I feel good about my budget because I know it goes towards things that me and my family value. Okay. So now I want to talk about some benefits, because so many of us have this like stankin' thinking, okay? Stankin' thinking when it comes to budgeting. But what about all of the benefits? There's so many. So how about the fact that you can actually, like I just said, spend money on things that actually matter to you. That's what a budget is in place to do, so that you can hone in on what actually matters to me, so that I can make sure I don't do a lot of miscellaneous spending on things that don't even matter to me. Like, no, I'm not that roll through Wendy's, Burger King, Taco Bell person, but I am I would love a really good coffee person. So in my budget, I have a certain amount allocated for coffee because I know it's something that I love. And so if I catch myself spending, $8 at Chick-fil-A, I would have much rather spent that on coffee. I'm gonna just keep it real because I value that. I love coffee, but I don't necessarily love how I feel after I eat Chick-fil-A. I like Chick-fil-A, it's holy chicken, but I would much rather have that gone to like my coffee fund. Okay. So you're gonna be able to spend your money on things that matter. The other thing is, it helps put you in control of your money and your money not controlling you. Because what you don't realize is anything that you do not, listen to me, y'all, anything that you do not take full responsibility over, full accountability, the ability to account for the action or the lack thereof, anything you don't take responsibility or full accountability for, you give the power to the other party or the other thing. It applies to people. When you always want to blame somebody else for your situation, you automatically relinquish your power, your control to the person or thing that you're blaming. And the same thing goes with your money. If you're not taking the control, the responsibility, the accountability, the ability to account for where your money is going, you give money the control. And this is where we go wrong, because then it feels like I'm the slave to the money and the money's not my slave, right? And it should be that way. You should be the one telling the money where it's going, what it's doing, not it making the decisions. Take a sip of this real quick. So, what's another benefit of budgeting? Because budgeting is for the smart people, okay? It's gonna help tell if you're living within your means. And I know the hardest part about this, you guys, I'm gonna keep it real. The hardest part about this is getting to the place where you can look at yourself and face your own finances. It's hard to be like, girl, you are living way above your means. That's hard. Trust me, I know. I've been there. That's hard, but it's even harder, don't you think, to keep moving through your life afraid to face something that you know is a problem? That's like let me just use like relationships for an example, right? That's like being with a guy that just irks your nerves. He's kind of disrespectful a little bit, but let's say that you chose to never face him because you just want to be with somebody. What? That sounds crazy, doesn't it? I mean, people do it all the time, but it sounds crazy to ignore something that you know is a problem and then be surprised about the result. So in that example of a relationship, right? If you're just with somebody to have somebody and they don't align with things that you value and stuff that you feel is important and, are kind the way you want them to be kind, I don't know, whatever you look for in a mate. And you don't confront that, you don't address that. How do you ever expect to be in a relationship that you consider fulfilled or happy or whatever, feel good, whatever words you want to use? No, you're going to face that. You're going to say, "Hey, yo, listen, bro, this is not working. We got to figure this out." Okay? It's the same thing with your money. It's terrifying to admit that, yo, I suck managing this money. And the crazy thing is, be careful who you take counsel from, because when I was learning to become a banker and I was in training and stuff, I realized how so many people, even going into the arena of banking, didn't properly manage their own money. So this is why you got to get in the driver's seat and say, you know what? I'm going to get in control of my money. I'm going to face wherever I'm at with my finances, no matter what that looks like, because once I know what it looks like, I can do some of the repairing. I could do some of the increasing. I could do the cutting, the spending, right? So now let's move on to some other benefits. It's going to help you with any goals that you have. How can you play darts without a dartboard? You can't. So if you know you have a goal that you want to accomplish that takes money, by the way, you gotta face your finances so that you can know, hey, you know what? Okay, that takes $500, right? And that might seem overwhelming to somebody who feels like they're living check to check. But what if you divide that $500 by, 12 months? Now you're speaking a different language to somebody who might be easily overwhelmed with the thought of having to put together $500 when that maybe they're living check to check in the moment. But if somebody just faces their finances and says, you know what, at the end of this year, I'm working really hard, and I'm giving you a real life example to just put things in perspective for you. Because what if somebody says, I'm saving for this goal that I have, and I really just have a goal of redoing my wardrobe. I am on a really serious health journey, and I know that I'm going to experience some results. I'm excited about that, but it's going to take $400 or $500 to redo an entire wardrobe for me. But right now I'm living paycheck to paycheck, right? Let's say that that's somebody's scenario. If they're living paycheck to paycheck, they're looking at the number 500 like, whoa, baby, I guess you're going to keep wearing the same stuff because it's not going to happen. I can't just take $500 out of my, let's say they make $2,000 biweekly, and they're like, listen, $1,700 of that goes on bills, right? That's some people's real truth. So then they're looking at the 500 number and they're like, man, I don't know that I could do that. But what if they took 500? This is what a budget can really do for you. What if they take the 500 and they say, you know what? Next year, I'm going to take that $500 and I'm going to redo my whole wardrobe. I'm going to feel better about myself by then physically. I'm going to fit into better clothes that I want to fit into, but I gotta get the $500, right? So yeah, maybe somebody wants to move faster than 12 months. I'm just using this as a basic example. If they use 12 months as the example, now that's them saving about $42 every month. For somebody that might be living paycheck to paycheck, that seems more doable than 500 at one shot. Would you guys agree? Drop a 7 if you're like, yeah, I feel you. And let's say somebody's like, okay, I need to be doing this shopping spree for myself, in less than that. I want to do it in 6 months. At the end of the year, let's say it's summertime, and they're like, listen, come the wintertime, I want new clothes. I've been working really hard on my health. I've been in the gym. I've been hitting it hard. And I want that to be my reward to me. Well, what a budget is going to do is it's going to allow you to take that chunk. And now if you break that up in 6 months, you can save $84 a month, right? And get to your goal of doing your shopping spree. But if you don't create a budget, you cannot increase intentionally anything you do not track. Another benefit is going to be, you guys, preparing for emergencies. I cannot tell you, and this is just my real truth. Some people may not agree with this, and it's okay, but this is my real truth. It is heartbreaking when I see so many young adults, like in their anybody over 18. It's heartbreaking no matter somebody's what their age is. But it is heartbreaking when someone passes away and all you see are GoFundMe accounts. I'm not saying don't do them. I'm not being judgmental, I promise. It's just sad. Like, genuinely makes me want to cry when I see them, because it's like, oh my gosh, if somebody could just teach us better and teach us, man, you could have literally been budgeting out $40 a month, and you could have left your family with the peace of at least burying you and giving you whatever you wanted if you left this earth. But instead, you don't see that. You see, oh my gosh, this was a tragedy. We were not ready for this. And nobody's ever ready for tragedy. Don't mistake the message. But tragedy hurts that much more when there was no preparation. And a lot of times we want to give the blame everywhere else. And again, I'm not saying this with a heart of judgment for anybody's situation, but I'm just saying this because if you're on here and you woke up 6 feet above and not below, you have an opportunity to do things different for your family, for yourself, to have enough, just pride in dang, when I leave, I just don't want to leave a certain way, right? When I leave, I want people to know that I love them, that I didn't want to give them any more stress when I'm gone. And it's a conversation people don't want to have, but can I be real? We got to have this conversation. Too many, and it's a lot of people that look like me. I'm going to keep it real. It's a lot of Hispanics. It's a lot of, women of color, men of color. And it's not okay. We're walking around with $600, $700, $800 bags on our shoulder, and we don't have a life insurance policy. And can I tell you, for a lot of people, if you don't even have a life insurance policy, I can pretty much almost tell you, you might not have a budget. Because if you do, an essential part of your budget in one of the buckets of something you value would be some life insurance, so that we don't have to make a GoFundMe for one of us if something happens. Because I tell you what, I don't care who wants to clown me or, there's still mean girls in the world, which is just a joke, honestly. I don't give a damn about what people think about the brand I wear or what I don't wear. But I'm very proud of my clearance sneakers from Kohl's, because I know, God forbid, if it's my time tomorrow, don't make me no GoFundMe account. Don't you dare. We don't need one. And I don't say that from a place of like bragging, but I've created a budget where I understand I value, if I go tomorrow and the people in my life that love me are already going to be hurt enough, I don't want you trying to figure out where to get $40,000 from to bury me, because I already told them I want glitter in my casket. So don't try to go the cheap route and go burn me, because I want glitter in my casket. That's part of my personality. You better give me what I want. And I say that in a joking spirit, but in a really serious spirit, because some of us, we don't have a budget, so our priorities are not there. And then when our priorities are not there, we're not prepared for real life tragic emergency. And GoFundMes, I don't feel like we're created for that. There's life insurance for that. And so I get so like emotional about that topic, because it's happening way too often. And we live in such a scary world that it's like, dude, I'm not trying to, and I'm not going to cry on here, but I'm a very emotional person, because there's no reason no reason that people that look like us do not wake up and say, we're not going to keep giving Gucci their money. We're not going to keep giving Louis Vuitton their money. We're not going to keep giving Adidas and Yeezys and whatever other brands their money. And then when we die, we got to give our money to GoFundMe. No. That's bogus. It's an excuse for not sitting down, getting our shit together, and getting a damn budget in place. It's an excuse. And budgets are just going to bring so much to the surface that we need to bring to the surface because we don't talk about it enough. But you want to be talking about the next person's bundles and, ooh, how her weave looks ugly. Mind your business and get your priorities together. Amara, no. And so I just get so passionate because budgets can change your life if you really are in a place where you're like, I really don't know where my money's going. If you keep it real with yourself, you can increase yourself. But if you don't keep it real with you, the numbers are not going to lie when emergencies happen. You can lie to you right now, but the numbers will not lie when an emergency happens. And I'm sorry. People can say what they want. They can do what they want, but I can sleep at peace knowing, God, if for whatever reason you do not wake me up tomorrow, thank you for giving me wisdom to face my own fears. And I used to be terrified of looking at my money because I didn't have none. But when you start to up your game in your mind, you refuse to accept certain shit. You refuse. And I just want that for so many people. Let's move on. Yeah, it's real. It's getting so real out here. Another benefit is it's going to help you reveal areas where you might be spending too much. A lot of times we don't even realize like, oh, shoot, come here, Amara. What are you doing? Y'all, toddlers are wild. They are so disrespectful. I'm just going to put that out there. If nobody has toddlers, you can come borrow Amara for a day, okay? Because she's wilding out right now. But this is the last and final point about benefits that I wanted to make is sometimes when you don't budget, you don't even realize you're spending more than you should be, or you could be saving money in certain areas. I'll give you an example. We hadn't realized until we redid our budget that dang, we could get this amount for, this category that we were looking at lowered because we just hadn't reevaluated it in a while. We were just still paying what we normally pay. And so sometimes you may not realize like, dang, I'm looking at, let's say your car insurance, and maybe you've had the same provider for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and you still are kind of paying the same, if not more. If you know you have a good driving history, those are categories that you can say, you know what, it might be time to get a new quote. I'm just giving you little nuggets that really can save you money, right? You can look at that and say, you know what, I think that it's time to get a quote. Like if they come back and they give us the same number we already pay, we'll stay with what we got. But what if they come back and they offer us $70 less? This is true story because we changed companies and our insurance went down like $87 every month. And that was a drastic change. But we were with the same company for a while. And I do value, quality and stuff like that. But honestly, if it's the same exact amount of coverage, I'm pretty familiar with insurance companies because I work for insurance companies. So it was a conversation of, dang, that's $87 and now could get allocated to this electric, like to our utilities that are going to go up during the winter time, right? So that a budget gives you opportunity to start shifting money between your values, right? We value paying our priority bills, obviously. And so we also value transportation to get our kids to and from. And so if we know that, if we could cut that 87 out of our transportation, now we put that 87, we don't take it and we go spend it on other stuff, but we take it and we allocate it to the bucket of the priorities, utility bills, right? Another thing that we did, and it wasn't something we wanted to do, but this is what you can do when you start to implement a budget, is our washer broke a couple months ago. literally cracked at the bottom. You know what? It was old. It was time. Okay. God sometimes will push you to get it. Okay. And so we had already prepared. So we had money to the side. We bought a new, like, energy efficient washer. And you guys, I kid you not, we had an old school, like, top loader. You know, we did our, like, cleaning cycles and all the stuff, but it was just old and it gave up. And so we already were budgeting. We budget for things like maintenance. So we were able to take, when our washer broke, we went and bought, like, the energy efficient one. And can you believe that our water bill decreased by like $150 every single month just from a energy efficient appliance? It uses way less water than, like, top loaders. It uses, like, less energy and all the things. But all I know is that the citizens bill went down $150. And the first month I was like, okay, wait, this might not be true. We still budget to pay what we normally pay, right? The range. But we were like, this can't be true. And then the second and third month, it was still down the same amount. And so now, because we have a budget and we see those numbers, we say, okay, well, shoot, that $150 now could just get allocated somewhere else. We can invest that money. We can put that toward, like, right now, we're just going to put that toward the kids' fall clothes that we're going to get. And so this gives you the opportunity to really see, like, dang, there's some things I can fix, but you know what? We're not doing that bad, right? Sometimes you feel like you're super overwhelmed, and sometimes it's because you can't see. And so budgeting helps you see. And so I just, I encourage you to make a budget. I encourage you to think about, first and foremost, like, what do you value? Think about things like your giving, right? So if you tithe, think about your income that comes in. Think about essential expenses that come out. And so I won't go into, like, deep every category or anything like that, but I just really wanted to shed some light on that because it's so important. It is so, so important because budgets are not for broke people. They are for billion-dollar minded people that understand billion-dollar corporations allocate their money appropriately. Every quarter, they have quarterly statements. They know what money goes going where, what money's going here and there. So for you, I want to challenge you today to switch your mindset from, oh, I'm just Francis Rodriguez. No. I run the Rodriguez Corporation that is directly tied to my children, that will be tied to my future husband, that will be tied to our generations to come. I run the Rodriguez Corporation that is tied to giving, that we want to be in a position where if somebody needs something, we can help and not be afraid that we won't have enough if we help. You know what I mean? So I want to challenge you to switch your thinking today and say, you know what? I don't know who's on here, but let's see. Leanna. Okay, Leanna, instead of thinking of your budget like Leanna's budget for me and baby girl, I'm going to think of it as the Moreno Corporation. How do I run these numbers, the money that comes in, the money that's going out, in a way that values the things that are important in our life, right? Our essentials, quality time with her, whatever that looks like, you're going to choose that. And so I just wanted to encourage you guys to really just start getting serious about the things that matter. And a lot of people like to say that, oh, it's not all about money, but money is such a critical component to everything we do in our life. It's not to be so in love with money that you lose track of who you are, but it's to be so aware that you're being an amazing steward of what you're being given. And so we are getting ready to do a 21-day financial fast. We're going to do that in a Facebook group that we have here. That's just really for encouragement, for uplifting. This is the book. If you guys do not have the 21-day financial fast and you want to do it with us, this is what the book looks like. It's by, excuse me. It's by Michelle Singletary, and you can grab it on Amazon. I'm not an affiliate. You can just go search it up. But when I tell y'all I've done the fast multiple times, y'all see all my highlighting. And it's so useful. We're doing it as a family starting October 16th, but we're also doing it with our Facebook community starting October 16th. So if you guys want to join us for that, just let me know. I can put the link to the group in the comments to this video. It's not mandatory. I'm not telling anyone they have to get a budget But in the fast, we talk about so many things. We talk about stewardship, tithing, budgeting, investing, what an actual budget looks like. We keep track of our progress for 21 days. Excuse me. And it will really radically change your mindset if you've never done it. So if you want to join us, just let me know below in the comments. I can drop the link to the group. But more than anything, I just wanted to shed some more light on just my personal shift in perspective, in opinion when it comes to budgets, because I remember thinking, I'm not budgeting. Budgeting is for people who don't have enough money. Little did I know, I only didn't have enough money because I didn't know where the hell my money was going. I've always had a job. I've always worked even multiple jobs. So there was no reason except for I wasn't tracking it, so I could not intentionally increase it. So I love you guys. I hope that you know you are capable. I hope that you know every single day you have a choice to get better. You have the will to choose that you're going to have a different life no matter what it currently looks like. I don't care if your bank account says it's negative 12 cents. We can fix that. It's just going to take time. It's going to take a shift in your mindset, and just know that 1% better every day, your small changes are going to lead over time to your big results. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.